So we're gonna be on this position here, okay? So the first thing we're gonna do is covering his thigh, okay? We don't wanna have his knee outside, okay? So we're gonna cover the thigh and then we're gonna grab the wrist, okay? Right here. So if I grab the wrist before, so he's gonna recover the guard, close guard like this, okay? So I have to keep his thigh between my legs, between my thighs, okay? So I have my knee on the floor. So then I grab his wrist and then I pin his wrist on the floor, just like we did last class, okay? On Thursday. So I pin his wrist on the floor. But now if I just pin right here, he can sit up on his elbow. You see that? That's not good for me, because then he can start working on his attacks, okay? The good thing of grabbing this wrist here, I prevent him from underhooking my leg, okay? So sometimes I'm gonna sit up and then underhook my leg, and then he start going towards like a deep half, or even underhooking this leg, like this. Link your hands. Yes, like this, and then you start like kicking you out, like you go for X guard, right? So just to avoid that, you're gonna control the wrist, push his hand to the floor, and now I have to keep his arm pretty much aligned with his body, okay? So I'm not gonna simply just do this, okay? Because sometimes it's hard for me to do it, and also he can use the momentum to set up the X guard on me here, okay? If I do it that way. So I'm gonna pin, and then I'm gonna put my kneecap, okay, on top of his hip, and then I'm gonna start extending his body like this, and I put my weight on his wrist, okay? So now it's way harder for him to sit up. Try to sit up. So it's hard for him to take his lat off the mat. You see that? So because I'm extending his arm, it's really hard for him to take this off the mat, okay? And that's what I want. Okay, you see my knees here. Sometimes you can use this crossing all the way as well, okay? Like a shin, like you staple his whole belly here, his hip, okay, with your shin. All right, so I like to use just my shin right here, okay? I don't like to hook too much, okay? This hand right here is blocking him from using the other leg, right? Try to use the leg, so I'm just blocking here, okay? And now I go for my attacks. As I mentioned last class, okay, we can go to mount here, so easy. I just start going to mount. He's gonna probably like lock the legs like this, and he can start working to pass his guard, okay? But tonight we're just gonna work on the submission, okay? So I'll be in this position. There's two things he can do. One is trying to break my grip, like that. He's probably gonna push and pull the hand. I just try to break my grip. Yeah, just like that. Yes, exactly. Okay? So as soon as I feel his hand is going to my hand, to my wrist, I'm gonna attack him, okay? And what I'm gonna do, as soon as he starts doing that, I go right here. I drop my knee on the floor and I grab his head and put my chest over his tricep, okay? Because that way I keep his bicep against his face, and that means I can easily lock a nice darce, okay? So I can keep my leg between his legs there, okay, on the half guard, and now I'm gonna start putting pressure here to choke him out, okay? So I have my hand over my bicep, put my left elbow on the floor, and then I shrug right now. I bring the shoulder to my ear, so I choke him out, okay? You can start doing this while you passing the guard, like a knee cut, and then you're here. So if your opponent is stronger than you and start turtle, like third position, like this, I can start going sideways and I roll all the way again, and then I end up right here. I can step my leg over him and then fold him. Because more I fold him, make him look like a shrimp, faster he's gonna attack, okay? A lot of people have a hard time to set up the darce choke when the opponent's underhooking the arm. Underhook my arm like this, so you can't get the darce here. It's so hard to see. Why? Because his arm is so a part of his head, it's hard for me to lock the darce. The darce is just like an arm triangle, right? The same movement I do with my legs to close the triangle, I do with my arms, right? And it's the same thing when I'm closing the triangle. If his elbow his bicep is away from his head, it's so hard for me to lock the triangle because there's too much space. But as soon as I put his bicep against his face, now it's a little bit easier. It's way easier for me to lock the triangle, right? With the arm triangle is the same thing. You're gonna notice that when you fight, every time you're here, you can even do this to go for a nice shot, for a nice darce. A lot of times your opponent sit up, you can cross his arms here and then start like getting the darts like this. As soon as you're putting his bicep against his face, you can attack the darts. Okay? So don't try to attack if his arm is under your arm. Because now look, it's really far, right? It's so hard for me to lock. Okay? When the arm is under my arm, I like to go for headlock, like a guillotine. Okay? So you go for guillotine. For example, if I get here, I do all that I need to do in order to control him. He's trying to break my grip. I go for the darts. Okay? Because he connects his arm against his face. But if I'm here and then he underhooked my arm, I go for the headlock and then I roll. If his arm is against my body here trying to grab my leg, I close the anaconda. Why I can close the anaconda? Because the biceps against the face. Right? Sometimes we're going to bring the elbow down like this. Now I can't close it. See, it's hard for me to close. So what I have to do, I pass my leg over his arm and keep his arm between my legs. And not only keep his arm between my legs, but my goal is putting his bicep against his face. Okay? By doing that, I have less space and I have better control, right? I mean like more space, right? Because I close, so I have more space to lock the arm triangle, okay? So our attacks right here is gonna be like this. We're gonna work at one of each. Okay, the first one, I'm here, he's like fighting, right, with me, exactly. So I pin his arm, right? If he does that, I still have the knee shield here. You're able to go here. You just have to open this leg here. Okay, you open your left leg like this. And then you catch his head. And once you're here, done, right? Have a nice start. But if you can deal with the knee shield, like pushing with the arm and walking towards his hip, that's why I keep the tip of my toes right here. So I can kind of like take the knee shield out. Then when you start trying to break my grip, then I go here. Okay. If I do this and underhook my arm, I go for the anaconda. What is the difference between anaconda and darts? Anaconda, you're close to the side of the arm. And darts, you're close to the side of the neck. That's the difference, okay? For those who doesn't know. So when you get the headlock, you can roll like I did, or you can go straight to mount, if you like. Okay, sometimes you're here, you go like this, he underhook my arm, like this, I can go here. Okay, try to lock the guard. Yeah, half guard. Yeah, he's probably gonna do this, right? You can start choking from here, right? Start opening and then choke from here. Or if it's really bothering you, you can roll and then stay sideways towards the side that the arm is under his head. Okay, and then you're gonna close the anaconda. Okay? On both, I always finish my position a little bit sideways. Okay? I cannot be flatting on the floor. I mean, when I close, especially the anaconda, if I close the anaconda, right? I cannot be on my back on the floor like that. I have to be sideways, okay? Because I want to work with my stomach against his head, so I can push his head against my forearm. And then choke him, you know? You see that my chest, my belly, is against the top of his head. I can just start pushing like this, sorry.
Thank you.
And at the same time that I'm pushing the head, walking towards his legs, I shrug, right? I do this, okay? Because when you shrug, that's when you choke. Okay? In Jiu-Jitsu, every time you're choking someone, you're always doing this. Every single choke. Cross choke, rear naked choke. You always have to work with this. That's why I have big traps, right? So 1, 2, right? He tried to break, catch. That's number 1. Number 2, he's gonna underhook, catch the head. Okay? Or you can go to mount. Number 3, I want to see you doing from here. Sit up, I go from here. Okay? Start catching from here. And then we go back again. Number 1, pin, walk, try to break, catch. Number 2, pin, walk, he's gonna underhook, walk. Or you can go to mount. Number 3, cross, catch his head. Just keep working like this over and over for 4 minutes each person. One person, 4 minutes, the other person, 4 minutes. Then we're gonna roll, okay? Any question? Yes, sir.
Last week when I was walking up, especially with big guys, I was like having trouble like keeping balance a little bit, like while trying to fight. Like you lay more. Like,
yeah. So what I do is this. I like to, when I pin his arm and I start walking here, I like to curl this leg here. And why I curl? Because this will bend his leg, so my knee that's here will push harder, okay? If I let this extend the leg, my knee will slide, okay? So I have to like bring this leg to me and push the hips against. I kind of like do like a scissor, right? So I bring this calf to me and then the knee against his hip. So that way I can extend more his arm. My goal is pretty much think about taking his shoulder or his arm out of his shoulder. That's my goal. I want to like, ever see Mortal Kombat? Fatality, right? So you go 1, 2, and then you just build that. You see like you see Petey's feeling that, right? Peter?
Yeah.
Right? So right here. When you start feeling like really uncomfortable, you start moving. Exactly, start doing this, then you go here. Or he's gonna put the hand under my armpit like this. And you can do it here as well. You just put your chest over his tricep and catch the head, right? Okay, because sometimes it's gonna be with the hand here as well to try to frame. So you just like use your weight on his arm to put his arm against his face. And then you walk, okay? So just think about like building that connection with your leg and then forcing this knee. And then you extend the arm as much as you can. So you can have like that control where he cannot move as much, okay? Yes. When I mount?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I get right here, underhook. You see that my armpit needs to pass over his head first so I can get the head. Don't try to go from here, because here is too far. If I let go and try to go and put my knee on the floor right here, he's gonna sit up, right? So I keep my weight on him, I just pass my armpit here. I do this first, and then I go. So once I grab, I mount, okay? So I keep head and arm guillotine, okay? I don't change for head only guillotine. I like head and arm guillotine because I can make transitions, okay? The head only guillotine, he can start pushing my hips with both hands. And I lose the connection here, okay? So when I go, I like to get the arm and the head, because anytime that I feel uncomfortable, I just roll and start going for a Darce, or for Anaconda, or even change for a Darce, okay? But to finish right here, okay, I open this hand, okay, and I put my hand against his chest and my chest against my hand, okay? And then I have to align my head, my forehead, with his spine, okay? So I cannot keep my head on the side because he feels comfortable here. You see that right now, I open my hand, I melt on top of my hand and his body, but if I'm here, he feels comfortable. So what I do, I mount, and then I start doing this. So I start bringing my head this way, so his head's gonna move like this, and then I do this. I squeeze with my lat, okay? And I just maintain. Yeah, so probably just getting the choke like here, you know? You have to like, it's like when you're on bottom and you have the guillotine, right? And you wanna choke him like facing like this way, you have to curl. Especially putting your elbow against your thigh. Okay, especially the elbow that's on the neck. All right, so that's work, and then we're gonna roll, okay? So 1, 2, 3.